Ew. Make sure you're subscribed. A lot of people have been telling me that YouTube has been unsubscribing them. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit that notification bell. And make sure you're sharing the content. You're going to want to share all this, baby, because we dialed in. My man Jalen Hurts in his presser said a lot of poignant things. He said a lot of stuff that I want to focus on before we focus on the elephant in the room, I believe, sometime next week. And we're talking about stuff from a schematic approach, especially as it pertains to a West Coast offense that I've been screaming about for years, that I wanted to see the Philadelphia Eagles run out this joint, a really tried and true approach to West Coast principles. And of course, Sean Mannion will be bringing that. As a matter of fact, I want you to check this out, what my man said right here.
In those times, we were a heavy gun team, ran a lot of inside zone, ran a lot of RPO, got to the edge a good bit. And defense was different too. And the game has changed. That doesn't mean that you remove those elements, but again, the base of the offense was, running inside zone, and that's not typical for this West Coast type of style. So I think that's a natural difference. And then I think from a pass game standpoint, as things have evolved, we were very one-on-one dependent, try and find a matchup instead of full flow. West Coast style offense. So it's a component where I think it's
What Hurts was talking about as far as offensive flow in the West Coast system is not more apparent to me than watching the tight ends. I've been studying the tight ends here for the last week or so, and man, I'm amazed about the type of layups and bunnies and even some of the explosive plays that they were giving to Tucker Kraft and some of the other tight ends there. So when you talk about us with Dallas Goedert, one of the best in the business, and a young Eli Stowers, man, sky's the limit. Check this drawing out right here. Ultimately, you're going to get a corner route, right? This is an empty rep. Love here doesn't place it on the money there, but you also get mesh concept going with the other tight end, right? So this is coming off 12 personnel. Mesh concept there, and the way they run this almost like a switch release. Come on, man. You can't tell me that if this is Dallas Goedert with Jalen Hurts and them throwing the ball. Look at that mesh, and then look at the type of space created for an explosive play. You get that joint right there to Goddard or Stowers, you know what I'm saying? Especially with the type of athlete that Stowers is, man. Come on, right? And we know my man Jalen Hurts gonna put that bad boy on the money. Look at this right here. Running this joint right here. It's almost like running interference when you run with that inside approach here on the damn corner route, right? So then, of course, you're taking a lot of the eye discipline away from the linebackers at the second level by running this mesh concept. People are all out of sorts right there. He could have dumped this drawing off right here, right? And still would have had a pretty good gainer there. But he wanted to go with the path of least resistance and the most explosive play right there. And you can see Tucker Kraft's average yard per catch to know that, man, they're going to be some serious plays downfield as it pertains to the tight end. And I'm not talking about just in the middle of the field either, right? They're talking about wide approaches outside the hash, getting vert through the seams. Like a lot of shit going to be going on. It should be very explosive, man. But I really like that concept right there. All right, the constant formation flipping motion, kinetic motion, and strength changing off the formation because of the motion is a lot to deal with, right? I like this drawing right here. You'll see them stressing the seams. Our man Wicks here getting seamed up the field. You get a mid-wheel route here by the tight end Tucker Kraft, and then in motion, right, all the way over, and then flipping the formation, getting wheeled up the field as well is the other receiver. And then they throw you in the flat. So if you have somebody who's supposed to overhang, he's going to want to shoot that flat, which we see right here, and it doesn't go teams as well. Another long gainer there, but I like this joint right here. There's a lot of shit going on. Flipping the formation. Watch Wicks here. Take that inside approach to the seam. Then you'll see that flat route, and you see how it occupies the cornerback, Seamer still. He's worried about that. And then you shoot it right over the top and in the voided space. He has to try to play catch up. That shit crazy. Check this one out of 12 personnel. You get motion, cross formation into a wheel. You get the number one tight end here. He's on a delay, on a drag, Tucker Craft here. Then you get what amounts to pretty much a scissors concept between the split end and then, of course, the tight end here, like the second tight end in the game. Now, that is a lot to deal with if you're a post safety here. Who are you going to actually that to both of the people in that particular scissors concept right here? Check this out, right? Running right at a post safety here. That's Dobbs as well, right? So he's crossed up. Great job of selling that outside portion of this, coming out here on this outbreaking route. So he gets turned around, has to do a speed turn. You know, I put that in quotation marks because I hate that particular turn right there. It's a dumb technique. And then, of course, you get from this post here. If he would have threw that bad boy out, that could have been a touchdown right there. Check it out. Look at that. Look at the separation. Throwing that bad boy somewhere out here is good, but he chose to go right here. It's more of a flatter route that was run, at least where it was thrown at. Pulled him a little bit more flatter, where he had to just kind of catch. Man, that's a hell of a concept. I need to say that again one more time, full speed. You gotta love that McVay Shanahan system, man. Nasty. Or Shanahan McVay. With the 11 personnel stuff, I love this particular block and release series. What you have here, right, it looks like it's going to be a balanced formation, a 2x2. The receiver will go in tight, right, and then he starts working nub side. He be in the tight end, right, so he becomes nub side. So the approach there with the block and release, there's nobody over there. They done tricked him. Watch with the motion. Let's look at it from this direction right here. You see him come in motion. This works good, especially with a traffic release. Traffic release. Everybody looks like they're going to start off blocking. Right? He does start blocking, right? Block and release. Even the stutter that the receiver gives is really an influence there for the play action. And then look at that. Swing that bad boy open. Wide open. Same shit, different toilet. Put him in motion. Traffic release, block and release. Look at that. All he did was run it off. Look at that. Another big gainer. Let's check it out from this direction. Put him in motion. Man, it's going to look good with Jalen under center like that. This time, you notice this, right? It was kinetic motion. He never stopped this time. He just releases through traffic. The other time, he was already stopped. And you get the block and release, influence block. Look at that. That's got to be the worst feeling right there when you crash down for the play action. And then look, dump that bitch right over into no man's land. Nothing but airspace and opportunity. Bro, I just love this concept. And you can see when they go to these condensed formations, you can see how the action happens really quick. Look at this. Boom, already in there. And then he's releasing. And then look, get him out on the outside, out in space. That is going to be tough to deal with. Definitely hoping he brings this concept over. Condensed formation. Quick. Traffic release. Bang, hit that out. A lot of stuff you have to deal with as far as your eye discipline goes, and them throwing a whole bunch of eye candy at you. Yeah, buddy. Bro, for real, the thing that makes me most excited about the tight end position in the Sean Mannion offense is the potential explosiveness of it. Now, I want you to look at right here. Dallas Goedert. Throughout his career, only one time could you say, like, damn, he was getting some explosive yardage. That's back 2021 when he had a 14.8 average per catch, right? Damn good year for Dallas Goedert. He was approaching to be the man, right? Tucker Craft, to me, one of the best in the business. Definitely a top 5 tight end in the NFL. And they were getting the most out of him as far as being explosive. Listen, 15.3 yards per catch. And that was after having 14.1 yards per catch in his second year. Now, combine that potential, right, to go to that position and be explosive with having a thin diesel Devontae Smith as your pillar, along with someone like a Mekhi Lemon, the type of explosiveness that he's going to bring, and the physicality between the both of those guys, and the same thing with Dontavian Wicks with that short area bully ball mentality that he has, right? Add in somebody like Hollywood Brown, who's got wheels beyond belief and all that, right? This could be a very explosive offense through the air, and that's going to combined with an explosive run game, because we're going to get back to that with a healthy offensive line. The shit is just setting up to be something magical, man, and people aren't talking about it from the standpoint that they should be talking about it, right? This philosophy switch, I think, comes at a great time, especially if you think about, the bombshell that should be dropping here this week. I'm saying we'll get back in that a little bit more, right? We'll save that there. But I really want to focus in on how this offense will look post that bombshell and the positions that we'll see that'll make, that'll make the magic, man. It's just going to be, oh, man, I can't wait. So if you can't wait, make sure you keep it locked. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're sharing the content and all that. Salute to all my top Billin villains out there all throughout the Delaware Valley. Elton, Maryland, of course, the entire Delaware, entire Jersey, right? Specifically South Jersey, though. And, of course, Philadelphia, man. You know how we do it out here. Big shout-outs to North Philly, Northwest, Northeast. We in the building, baby. West, South, the P. You know what I'm saying there? All folks out Center City, Uptown, and all that, right? Salute, Grays Ferry.
What more can I say?
Top Billin.